Hi everyone, I am Cristian Valdebenito, members of the performance team in curve testing. And for us, it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you. Now sharing our experience and skills is in this the first time we participate, and our goal is with first the money orders. Today, I want to share with us two methods for a build automatic or semi-automatic script. In this session, show how create a new script and how add a change or update the script with both methods, with different tool and condition for obtain the best automation. Finally, review the summary for this case. In the most traditional service performance testing, the process is linear and framed in the project or the needed, but the new tendencies and the needed of increased velocity in the development cycle make is necessary obtained and generated and performance process easy, simple, and fast, and especially in the design and the building stage. For this reason, now can show two forms or two methods for evolve the automatic or semi-automatic build of the performance script. This is necessary for a support and maintenance of the all artifact builder of the performance testing. This is critical for a DevOps or for the continuous testing, where multiple executions over time are required and is necessary to consider that the artifact must be updated periodically and are exposed to continuous change and improvement. Now, let's see how we can build a performance script for a common end-to-end transaction or a web application interacting in the front, where we go through the login, load the home, and then log out. Here we need a basis functional automation of the transaction, which can be delivered or provided by a tester or the development team, or directly we can do it ourselves. In the first method that we are going to review is without a robust and powerful form that make the most of the capability of the Neotys performance tool. To do this, we must have and do the following. First, have the functional automation of the transaction supported with Selenium. 2. The performance tool library is enabled, which is required to listen and record the script automatically. Functional automation is executed in Selenium with the performance tool in proxy mode, the tool listening and recording. The performance tool generates the performance script automatically. The performance script and the scenario are parameterized for its use. In this point, here is important feature that allow a great degree of autonomy when building the script. This is a given by the use and enablement of the design framework. The framework, which facilitates the identification and interpretation of variables. The tool can know and understand when it's necessary to take and assign a variable in the script. Better is the all interpretation of the transaction, where the framework is more robust, the more automatically it will be generating and parameterizing the script. Finally, the script is ready to run the performance test. Now, let's see this wonder in action. Okay. I can the video, because the video is necessary. In this moment, the video is loaded in the platform. Okay.
Cristian, I think you're not sharing your screen anymore.
Okay. In this moment is load the video because all process is saved in the video, but the platform is necessary reload the video. I don't know this part. In this moment is process the
So you have uploaded the demo on Blue Jeans. Okay, I get it. So if you're planning to describe the video while you're speaking, it would be better to share it directly from the screen because it will disable your mic, like similar to what what we have experience we had with Todd. So either you can just play it from your laptop and then if you are intend to comment the video while it's playing, you should definitely share the video from your screen.
Okay. However, this I can't try this. Wait.
All right, I can see your screen now.
You can show the video. You can see it. No, or yours? Yes? No?
Chris, sí se ve.
¿Sí se ve el video?
Se veía.
Ok. Igual ya está. Listo.
Hello guys, My name is Oscar Morales. I am a performance architect in Choker testing. In this demo, your view of ingredient do you need for reusing the automation script design in Selenium as input to a new performance script. The first ingredient is base project automation with Selenium and driver performance tools. It is necessary to have a project as an automation template so that the automation teams generate artifacts that are reusable as input for the new performance script. Number 2. Automation script in Selenium. The scripts made in the Selenium template are reusable and must contain tags for a better understanding of the metric generated by the performance teams interpreted. For example, login, on, logout. Number 3. Framework performance tool. It is necessary to configure a framework that allows a high reuse of the component generated by the automation team, since the framework will allow to build automatic or semi-automatic variables the performance script for later use, generating greater coverage at the level of non-functional requirement. Wait moments for load. Number 4. Gather the ingredient to create the performance script. After having the ingredient, we proceed to create a new performance script from an automation script in Selenium. This can be integrated into different agile development environments, DevOps, Kanban, script, others. As you can see, the performance tool records that Selenium does, with help reduce the time spent designing and updating the performance script. The tool records everything Selenium does in production mode, and with the help of the framework, the variables are automatically correlated, so the performance test can be performed in the next stage of a development pipeline if you prefer.
Okay. This is the first method. Now, the second method facilitates reuse and increase the independence of the transaction involved in the end-to-end transaction. In this case, the performance tool used is JMeter. The step-by-step of this method is similar as the previously reviewed. First, there is a functional automation of the transaction carried with Selenium. The transaction is exported by generating .jar file. The generated file is imported into performance tool. The performance tool generates the performance script automatically. The performance script and the scenario are parameterized for its use. The script is ready to run performance test. Now, let's see this second method in the practice.
Hello, my name is Carlos Quiroz. I am a performance architect. In this case, we are going to learn about how to use JUnit, Selenium, and JMeter to perform tests on the transaction. Step 1. Automate the transaction. We will start with login and logout of the website, where a Java file will be created, which should be in a new project with Eclipse. Step 2. Once our automate script in import, let's observe that we have the necessary Selenium libraries and the Chrome web drive to be able to export a jar file. Step 3. We import our automate script jar file to be used in our performance tool in the specific JUnit folder. Step 4. The performance tool will automatically generate the automation script obtaining the classes and methods to be executed from JUnit request. We can add one or more results listeners to verify that our script work. Step 5. The performance script and the stage are ready to use. We configure the number of threads to the test and execute. As we can see, the execution is correct, starting with the login, entering the web page, and logout. In JMeter, we obtain the results according to the configuration we make to obtain them.
Okay. With this method, we were able to build a performance script practically from scratch without knowing or understanding the system without additional participation of the client or their team. But if we have to update it, if the transaction changes, or if it was incorporated an additional flow, this can get complicated, and we will have a think for a minute before starting to change the script code. Now, let's see how the original transaction, we have a few additional steps are added to the functional automation, generating a change, incorporating a new functionality. This can be seen as adding another transaction. With the methods present, the performance script will be rebuilt, considering the change, a new step in the transaction, allowing updating, incorporating change in the transaction in a dynamic and natural way from functional automation. Here is how this is done in boot method. This.
Update the ingredients to update the performance script. Finally, we can achieve that each that a Selenium script is updated. The update or performance script through the step that we showed the previously. Let's review. Number 1, template automation project. Later, Selenium automation script with performance label or tab. And finally, framework performance tools. You can consider create a culture of high automation reuse for your performance teams. As we show you in this demo, and we simply have a lot of gain from this practice, hoping it will serve you for your future projects.
The method.
Step 6. Flexibility and adaptability to update our performance script. In this case, we are going to add a functionality to our automate script. We already have the login, access to the website, and the logout. In this case, we are going to carry out a transaction which creates a record. In the Eclipse project, we have the script for creating the registry and update the jar file which was previously exported. We execute the new class to verify its work correctly and we obtain the results after its verification. Okay, we configure our test scenario with the total of threads and times, and we start. Finally, we will obtain the results for the realization of an analysis. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. Now, then, okay. Now, everything we saw is very impressive, but it had a limitation and restriction. However, the most important thing to keep in mind is that using functional automation. It should ideally be writing in native code without using design framework or coding or testing. Since these changes group, add, or mask the function and capabilities, making them present inconvenience for the interpretation for the performance tool. However, if we think about how many transactions are automated today, how many of these have a performance test, and how many did not. What will happen if we started to reuse automation, build it, and they all knew that come in increase the coverage and participation of performance tests. This method offers us the possibility of reducing the times in the design and construction stage, increasing and facilitating the reuse of components, as well as maintenance of generated testware. Also, allows us to make independent and minimize the participation of the functional expert in differentiation of context and understanding of transaction. Also, increasing the coverage and can be given with the performance test and with the possibility of detecting change and generating automatic update of the end-to-end transaction. Finally, and very important, these days and where we all want to go, it allow and facilitate the enabling of a service in a model of continuous performance testing. This is because we can incorporate in the DevOps pipelines that the performance script is built automatically in each execution, incorporating the change and update that may come from functional automation, generating an automatic flow with intervention when the insert change are too large and not all variables can be solved or interpreted. Well, saying this, when analyzing the capabilities and benefit that this can give us, make the next question. The performance tester or the performance engineer follow the dinosaur path? I think yes. We are destined to evolve and become the biggest in the world of software and the testing. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. First of all, thanks because it's clearly a team effort. Several Oscaro has been involved, and that was great. So I have several questions. So because I've been using the conversion from Neotys to Selenium quite a lot of time, but I was questioned from a Neil perspective and from a JMeter perspective. So here we are converting the Selenium script into a protocol level testing through Neotys. The framework that you highlighted, yes, manage I would say the local variables that make the execution possible. And how do you manage the data? Because if you do, I guess here in your example, there was a Orange HR application, CRM application. There is probably different type of users, different logins, different. If I need to, I don't know, notify that I'm off, I don't know, tomorrow or whatever it is, probably the data set will change depending on the user. So you mainly focus on the design, which is the main topic of your presentation. Do you have a suggestions for the data as well? How to you also to manage the data set that will be used for the tests? That is something I was also interesting to see how you deal with it.
Okay. Yes. The data is a problem generally in all tests. Is always there is more pain head. Okay. In this case, all provided on previous pipeline or previous job with the curate the data and writing in the file or in the script, take this file with the data previously built. Okay.
Got it. So you basically on the pipeline you change the data sets that are used for test scripts.
Exactly.
Got it. And for the JMeter thing is running a JUnit script, so it's basically you directly run a pure Selenium scripts into Selenium. Do you see any major impact into the number of concurrent threads that you can generate on a single thread, on a single box? Because obviously you will have several Selenium session that will be generated on a one single box. I guess that you will require more power to be able to achieve that.
Yes, in JMeter have the limitants for the thread for generate in the execution. This is a limited with the is necessary leave and and considered in the strategy, in the pipeline, in the current scenario, and concurrency. And the other difference in the JMeter and Neoload is in this case, is the framework. In JMeter, it's not possible make this framework with the interpreted the variables, and then is necessary make a other step with the Neoload tool.
Got it. So I got the idea. Alexander, first of all, thanks. Hi, Alexander. How are you today? We don't hear you. There's an audio problem. Maybe let me check if your mic is.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. So how are you today?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
So far so good. After 17 hours. Alexander, do you have any questions for Cristian or Oscaro?
Yes. So maybe I missed it during the presentation. Main problem what I saw that the system is changing. For example, for continuous performance testing, something changed, and that difficult to trace down. So, and actually, even I found that it even worse with functional testing with Selenium script. So I hope to switch to Selenium script to get more reliable scripts, but turn out otherwise. My performance scripts were much more reliable than functional tests. How you handle that?
Well, one possibility that is us can be construct only a pipeline for the construction script or the build script from the listening, the deployment for the new automation in Selenium is deployment. Okay, then new automation in Selenium is deployment. We are launch the pipeline for the construction or build the performance script, and then here is make for the next execution for the pipeline with the scenario of performance. Okay, in this case, build first the script with the change. When listen or launch it for the deployment in the new version of the automation, and then is executed the performance test.
Okay, so basically you start from functional script, so it is assumed that another team is supporting them.
Exactly. Is reuse the automation functional.
Thank you.
All right. I see that we have our friend from this morning, early morning, Scott. Steven is connected, so I think he's having breakfast. I think he's exactly at the same shape that we were this morning when you presented. So I get you had a few hours of sleep now. So how are you?
A few hours of sleep. A few hours of sleep. It's woken up to the exciting world of Azure dashboards. It's a lot of fun. So I thought I'd tune in while I figure out Azure at the same time.
Did you have the chance to listen to Cristian's and Oscar's presentation?
I've only just come in, but I heard someone mention perhaps error handling in scripts. I think Alex was talking something about that. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, that basically basically the approach is taking advantage of the work that the automation team could make on Selenium, and being able to convert or reuse those testing assets to reduce the design efforts related to maintain or build your testing assets.
There's an interesting thing that we've been playing with along those lines, and it's probably slightly tangential, but it's building Selenium or site speed tests into your performance testing pipeline. So an engagement that we've just finished here, quite a heavy duty React site. There's quite a lot going on in the site, and some of the code on the front end is quite abysmal. Yeah, it's just not good. So the JMeter test goes through and says everything comes back in like 300 milliseconds because we've got a varnish cache, and then we've got CloudFront, and then we've got something else. The page actually takes 5 seconds to build once the data is there. So we were starting to look at building Selenium scripts into the pipeline so we can start getting some of those front-end metrics, and then compare those with the performance testing that we've got. And if it's automated, then we can compare that under varying loads, and it shouldn't make any difference, but business likes to know those sorts of things. So it's worked out quite well, that general sort of approach, trying to bring some of the automation stuff into the performance world. There is, particularly when you're talking to automators, a little bit of a conceptual difference around things like transactions and what is a transaction and how do you measure response times and things like that. So a lot of the automators I've dealt with, it's kind of like, well, the script runs and it says it's passed or it fails, and we don't get a lot more granularity than that. So it's kind of like bringing them more into our world where you have a script with multiple steps, and any one of those steps can fail, and any one of those failures can have a different form of impact on the overall system. So it's been an interesting exercise.
Yeah, so just to let you know, so we did a prototype internally here. So we made a specific Selenium grid. Now they were using here. Oscar showed us how to use the Neotys driver in Selenium. But this new method, so at the moment we're still sort of validating the value of that. So we have now a specific grid. So it's going to be part of the Selenium architecture. And when you run it in the grid, that it means that there is no changes to be done on the script. The script runs like a traditional automation, but because it's running in our grid, we automatically instrumenting the scripts by picking up the transactions, and we automatically instrumenting to get the web performance metrics as well. So that approach seems to work in most of the cases. It worked, but we are not officially publishing it because we are still.
I guess when I first started those, however many years ago it was now, Wikipedia knows. Whenever someone asked about browser rendering, sites were a lot simpler, right? And you said, well, it's neither here nor there because that's very dependent on the user's machine and their browser and stuff like that. But we've come to this point where so much data is getting pushed local now, and there's so much application logic actually built into a site that executes locally that's now, it's becoming a thing again. So it's almost like going back to the old client server kind of days.
Yeah, that's true. Makes sense. All right. Alex, any other questions? There's no questions left from the audience. Yeah, any questions? Alex, do you want to add anything?
Yes, one more question with, for example, our Selenium script. It turned out that in many places it cannot catch automatically the end of action. So basically they implement some kind of just internal looping and waiting when it happens, adding some delays to make sure that everything is working. So, and when we try to use it in performance tests, it definitely screw performance measurement. Have you seen something like that? And if you have seen it. How you address it? You are on mute.
Cristian, you're on mute.
Excuse me. In this case, is necessarily, I think, because no have the evidence this case in particularly, but the coding, cierto, is important with the after to listening the transaction with the proxy mode change or incorporated new step in the script in performance. Okay, change the interpretation for the tool. In this case, is not a lot or many automatic. It's more manual. In this case, it's possible better save the transaction with the tool directly.
But it really depends on the design of the app then.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Cristian. Any other questions? No, we don't. All right. So thanks so much,
Okay.
Cristian, for presentations. Thanks, Oscaro, for your demo. Great teamwork.
Thank you, everything.
Yeah.